Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty Roundtable Radio Talk Show.
The money man, the honey man. Hold her right there steady, ladies and gentlemen. I plead the Fifth, for crying out loud. What? China arming Iran? America arming Ukraine? Welcome to the war. Happy to have you along, my fellow Americans. I'm Sam Bushman with the Honest Money Report. In the room, Curt Crosby, affectionately known as the Honey Man, well known for incredible constitutional commentary and more, localhoneyman.com. We've also got Heath Perkins with us. He's the money man, working on helping people understand precious metals. Been doing it for a long time with our dear friends at freewatercoinco.com. Welcome back. Curt, what do you say, sir? Welcome.
Buenos dias. Greetings and salutations. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Thank you, Sam.
You're very welcome. Do you know Spanish, Heath?
Very little. Un poquito.
All right. I'm just saying, hey, man, I like Mexican food. How's that?
There you go. Me too.
All right, let's talk about the economy because it's straight up top billing. Fed holds rates steady as inflation fight continues. Divisions in the Fed grow. It was a 9-3 decision. Some want to hold it steady. Others want to increase it. But Donald wants to decrease it. I just simply want everybody to quit thinking they need to control it and let the free market govern it. Heath.
Completely agree. The more that you have meddling involved in the markets, the more you have you're kicking this can down the road, and the larger the issue is going to be down eventually. So if we don't address things in a free market situation and allow reality to hit, like for instance, part of the issue we saw with the housing market and the housing market going through the roof was that the free market was taken away back in 2018, and the Federal Reserve started buying up all the bad debts off the bank's books, including all the bad mortgages. So instead of those mortgages, or those homes coming back to the market in a free market manner and allowing the repricing and restructuring of where a home value should be, they negated it completely. We didn't have foreclosures come in the market. We didn't have a resetting of valuations of homes, and it just continued to grow and grow and grow. We've lost that ability to have, a buyer's realtor go in there and say, hey, no, this house foreclosed on and it was this price. You need to bring your price down to a realistic valuation based upon these foreclosures that we're looking at as comparables. And so, again, free market needs to be a part of these things. Free market needs to not be meddled with, and the more you meddle with it, the bigger the issue gets. Like, our home prices shouldn't be as high as they are, but due to the Fed buying up all the bad assets and these bad mortgages, we've seen house prices just continue to increase without any kind of a check in place that would allow it to bring back down that value to a realistic area. So yeah, every time you mess with the free market and don't let the free market do what it's supposed to be doing, you're putting excess pressure on something else that's going to pop eventually. And the housing market popped when you didn't allow, again, those foreclosures to come to market. So one example there.
Thank you, Heath. Down to the field, the referee's throwing a foul, blowing the whistle on the Fed. Curt?
Well, that's right. Everybody talks about what to do with the Fed. I can tell you one thing. Just shut it down and let it go home. Foul ball one more time. The Federal Reserve messing around with the free market, as Heath would say. In a couple of recommended readings for you, Ron Paul's In the Fed book. You got Creature from Jekyll Island. There's plenty of ways to learn about what we ought to be doing. And by the way, the Constitution, they brought it up quite a bit with Fauci, but the Constitution says in Article 1, Section 10, no state shall make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debt. So it's pretty easy to know what we're supposed to be doing. if we'd only do it.
Amen to that. Now, President Trump has talked about, the Federal Reserve and been very critical of the Federal Reserve, but he hasn't really come blatantly out and said we ought to shut her down. I wish he would do that, and I really wish leaders in Congress would stand up. The only one that do so that I know of so far, really boldly at least, is Rand Paul and Thomas Massie are the two that have at least done more than most on that, Curt.
Well, I couldn't agree more. And of course, there'd be a lot more if you just bring up the issue. At least they could even, suggest in the days that we are living where we got Bitcoin and all these other things, they could even recommend that maybe they look at Abraham Lincoln and JFK as examples. And, if you don't want to immediately go right to silver and gold, you could at least, instead of having the Federal Reserve print up paper money, you can use the United States notes from during that time, from Abraham Lincoln to JFK, that were used. And, that's money at least that doesn't have interest attached.
Yeah, we could have the Trump note that doesn't have any interest attached, right?
Sure, you bet.
And even better than that, Heath, you know what Curtcoin is, don't you?
I don't.
Curtcoin is constitutional currency. It's money. It's a gold, silver, and that's all. Yeah. Is that Curtcoin, Curt?
That sounds good to me.
Nice.
All right, what do you say, though, Curt? We're saying, Heath, we're saying, look, it'd be great to go to constitutional currency, but in the interim or along the way, we could, release the Trump note, which would be kind of like the JFK note, or the, which would be American currency or U.S. currency that wouldn't have interest attached to it. That wouldn't be perfect, but it would be a start, right?
Yeah, no, we could definitely do that. So JFK used the silver reserves the United States had back in 1963 with executive order. It's 7 ones and a 0, where he took $80 billion, he took $80 billion worth of silver and issued 80 billion red seal notes, which are U.S. Treasury notes. These U.S. Treasury notes, we don't get charged interest. We actually get to charge interest. So the government gets to charge the banks interest, and that was prior to the Federal Reserve. That was how the federal government would actually fund itself, was through the interest that banks would be paying it from it issuing the money supply, instead of a private bank like the Federal Reserve issuing the money supply and us paying that interest. So JFK did this. Donald Trump has the ability with. So back in 2008, we bought Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. When we bought Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, it didn't give all the citizens the mortgages that we used their tax dollars to buy Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac with. That became an asset on the books of the United States government. Well, that asset is so huge, we could literally use just that asset to back the issuance of red-sealed U.S. Treasury notes to get out of where we're at. We could start we could start charging interest to the banks again. We could take that system. The U.S. Treasury.
There's only one problem, though, is I think they looted the Treasury, Heath, and so I'm not sure that it's really there anymore. And I know President Trump said that he was going to go in and monitor that dude, let us go into Fort Knox and kind of get a handle on it. So what I thought Trump could do is he could just commission the 3 Musketeers. That would be us. You got the blind man, the honey man, and the money man, and we could just roll right in there and record what's happening. Do live video. It'd be like a reality TV show on money steroids. And what do you think, Curt? We could just roll in there? I'm just waiting for a commission.
You bet.
All right. So does Trump know you're ready to sign up, Heath? He's got to know this.
Not yet, but if it's on air right now, then it'll eventually get there where he has the ability to do this.
Because you could say, I have testing tools. I work for a gold and silver company. I know how to make sure it's real gold. I know how to vet this thing, make sure it's really going on. We know how to go ahead and count it and make sure it's accurate and everything like that. I'd be the reporting guy. I'm the blind man. I don't need to, see it. I'd just be the reporter, And I hear no evil, see no evil inside the Fort Knox, you know what I'm talking about? And then Curt Crosby, the honey man, would just, be the referee guy, and he'd just be like, hey, whoa. Are you telling me that's tungsten? Is that what you just said? And would know what the truth is, gold, silver, what the real metals are, right?
Yeah.
Amen to that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Tell me what gold and silver is sitting at right now, Heath. Where's gold sitting?
Gold's at $4,097.50.
$4,097.50. So what that means, it's almost $4,100.
Correct.
4097, ladies and gentlemen. How many cents again?
50 cents.
50 cents. All right, where's silver sitting?
It was at 58.28.
58.28. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back and talk about it with Curt Crosby and Heath Perkins. We're talking about honest money. This is the Liberty Roundtable Live Honest Money Report. And that means freewatercoinco.com, everybody. You've got a friend that can help you understand and get involved in precious metals to make sure you protect your portfolio. This is Liberty Roundtable Live.
Why don't we say to the government writ large that they have to spend a little bit less? Anybody ever had less money this year than you had last? Anybody ever have a 1% pay cut? You deal with it. That's what government needs, a 1% pay cut. If you take a 1% pay cut across the board, you have more than enough money to actually pay for the disaster relief. But nobody's going to do that because they're fiscally irresponsible. Who are they? Republicans. Who are they? Democrats. Who are they? Virtually the whole body is careless and reckless with your money. So the money will not be offset by cuts anywhere. The money will be added to the debt, and there will be a day of reckoning. What's the day of reckoning? The day of reckoning may well be the collapse of the stock market. The day of reckoning may be the collapse of the dollar. When it comes, I can't tell you exactly, but I can tell you it has happened repeatedly in history when countries ruin their currency.
As you are aware, America is divided over every fault line possible. This is intentionally fostered by those who do not love God, family, or country. We believe a peaceful future as a free people absolutely depends on civility. Clarion Call for Civility is looking for funding and volunteers at every level to make our hopes and efforts a reality. Please donate, sign our pledge, and help us in our sacred cause. Please visit callforcivility.com for more details. Callforcivility.com.
All right, we decided we're going to change it. Now it's the honey man, the money man, and the funny man. I guess I'm not going to go by the blind man anymore. I'll just go by the funny man. How's that, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, indeed, the Fed holds interest rates steady. Some want to lower it, like Donald and company. Others want to raise it, like who knows who. All the Federal Reserve leaders, at least 9 out of 12. I want them just to keep it a hands-off is what I want to happen. Curt Crosby, the referee, wants to shut them down. Heath Perkins wants the free market to work. That's what I think we all want. But the last thing I want to say about the Federal Reserve is not only did they hold the rates steady, but they said, hey, come next couple of months, we're going to be raising the interest rates. I don't think Donald's too happy with the guy they put in place of what's-his-face, right? I don't think Trump's too happy. I think Trump wants the interest rates to go down. And it's interesting, though, he's not mentioning a word about it, Heath.
Yeah, it's Trump wants what makes everyone happy with him. He wants the populist move, which is, decreasing the interest rates. The downside is Trump in 2020, when we had the whole COVID issues, he started giving out all that money, the helicopter money, with $600 here, and everyone who was on unemployment an extra $600 a week. When he did that, the inflation that we've seen over the last years, mainly during Biden's administration, because it takes about 18 months for inflation to really hit, that's what happened. And so he's got no one really to blame besides himself for these higher interest rates due to just entering all that money to the market. So it's what he wants, but he already made his bed in that sense, and he's got to sleep in it now. So if there's higher interest rates due to inflation like we're seeing, he's got to deal with it. It's not a populist thing. It's not a fun thing for the citizens. But we can't. You can't thwart inflation without taking money out of the system, and that's what higher interest rates do. Is they pull more money out of the system, which allows what Trump had previously done to be somewhat undone and
it
balance.
Hits the brakes on the economy. If you're a redneck and you don't understand all this, it just hits the brakes on the economy. I want my cake and to eat it too is what I'm talking about. And Curt Crosby over here's got a fistful of Benjamins now, don't you, Curt?
Well, I can say this, that, there's, at least when you look at President Trump, he's somebody who's actually been in business.
That's for sure.
As far as I know, he's the only president that served without pay. Everybody else brings in the cash and gets richer in Congress or senator or president. And President Trump, at least there's a lot that can be said about what he's done. I certainly would hope for a return of Jesus Christ to run the whole thing, but until that happens...
That's coming, my friend. I promise you that, sir.
I agree. I just don't know if it's right around the corner. And I'm hoping... Right. Yeah.
All right, I want to talk about this Fauci facade. I don't know what's going on here, but man, Rand Paul put Fauci on the hot seat, and Fauci invoked his Fifth Amendment rights 111 times. Now, here's the interesting thing. It's pardoned Fauci, who pled the Fifth literally 111 times, leaving critics doubting that there'll ever be real accountability. I'm one of those people. I don't think that they'll ever get Fauci. He'll walk because Biden gave him the pass. Now we can debate the auto pen and say, Biden didn't really do it. That doesn't stand, but that hasn't held much water. And now that Fauci's been pardoned and now that he's pled the Fifth 111 times, if I don't talk, then you can't really say that I crossed myself after the fact. And so it was a very contentious Senate hearing. Rand Paul had to kick the attorney for Fauci out. And basically, critics are saying, hey, the pardon plus the refusal to answer anything means there's nothing really new here. It's a great, grandstand political theater thing. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not against Rand Paul doing this. I think he's a hero for, letting the truth get out there. Why would a pardoned man plead the Fifth 111 times if he's, honest? But that's where the debate starts, Curt.
Well, he couldn't be more correct, Sam. And I listened to pretty much the whole thing, and one of my favorite parts was when Senator Josh Hawley was interviewing him. He asked him, because he was kind of tired of hearing the whole taking the Fifth thing from Fauci, so he said, well, what color is your tie? And he came back and said, on the advice of counsel, I'm going to take the Fifth. He said the same thing about the carpet and about the day of the week. It was just crazy. But it's what we...
And they put everybody on notice that this guy's... It's not a matter of just pleading the Fifth in literal protection for yourself for things that may be complex, beyond average understanding for legalese, but it's that he was basically advised, do not say a single word about anything. And the question becomes, when you testify before Congress, yes, you have the right to plead the Fifth, but do you have the right to plead the Fifth when you're on the people's errand to not answer anything at all whatsoever? And that's kind of where the debate is. So Rand Paul, pushing for a vote next week, I think it is, to see if we can go ahead and recommend this for prosecution. I really commend Rand for doing this. Don't get me wrong, but I don't see it going anywhere, Curt. I really don't.
Well, you have kind of precedent for contempt of Congress kind of situation.
But only for patriots.
Well, that's right. Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro, both spent some time in the slammer just recently. So I don't.
Fauci won't, because he's on the liberal side, though. The liberals never have. It's a two-way street, sir.
I sure would like to see what's good for the goose, etc.
Good for the gander. Amen to that, Heath. What do you say about this, though? I don't mean to be so cynical, guys. I hope and pray Rand Paul gets it done. I really believe there needs to be accountability here. I think we need Nuremberg-style trials, in my opinion, on this thing, because it's a disaster and a half. And the proof is when you plead, hey, the Fifth Amendment to basic things like your tie, the carpet, and you do it 111 times and you will answer nothing, and you're called before Congress and you are the people's representative, the highest paid representative in government, and then even Donald Trump saying, hey, I tried to warn Biden about this guy, but you know what? Biden did nothing. In fact, expanded his power. At some point, there's pay dirt here, Heath.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting to begin with. Like, why did Biden pardon a guy who had no charges against him? So it was the anticipation that he was going to have charges against him. Like, you don't pardon someone who doesn't have anything. Like, there was nothing to pardon yet. A preemptive pardon, like, which automatically you're just admitting he's guilty of something. So right off the bat, that was a really weird scenario that Biden had pulled, because Fauci wasn't indicted on anything yet. And
I
so
was just waiting for my pink slip pardon in my back pocket just in case. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, just to show up. But yeah,
Yes,
my get out of jail free card.
I mean, I don't even know why, but if anything came up, you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Well,
no,
the senator from Florida, the new senator from Florida, though, she brought up some very interesting parts, and I guess the pardon goes back to 2014, when some other nefarious activities occurred, and I just think there's, like you say, a whole bunch of bad stuff going on there, and I'm calling a foul one more time.
Amen to that. There are ghosts in the closet, that's for sure, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what's interesting is you bring up the Florida senator. As far as I understand, DeSantis and company over in Florida say they're going to start investigating Anthony Fauci because of what we've seen now. So, I don't know where this is going to go. I pray we get action here, but I have my doubts. I just know that there's two classes. There's all of us, and then there's the special inside liberal class that there's no, Bill Clinton can flat out rape people. And everybody just kind of laughs and goes, bimbo eruption, no problem. But then anybody else, it's like, oh, my heavens. And they get, now I'm not defending any of those actions. I'm just saying you can see the two classes of people and where we go. That's what we're seeing here. Heath?
Yeah. No, it's always been a one-sided, favorable situation for the liberals. They literally can do pretty much anything, and the news is on their side. It's a very difficult scenario to watch because it's just insane. Like, you can't be liberal and maintain your sanity because your foundation changes whenever you want. So, like, for instance, before COVID, you had the "it's my body, my choice." After COVID, it's not your body, it's not your choice. For grandma, you get that shot. And so when your foundation can just change at any minute, you can't be logical. You can't have a sane argument, and you literally have to become insane to continue going down that pathway, because you can change your foundation at any moment whenever they want you to. So it's not it's a very dangerous path to take, because if you're following that understanding, like you literally will jump through any hoop or change any direction when they ask you to, and that literally will cause insanity. That's the only reason that the Republicans have any kind of logical argument, is because they have somewhat Christian foundations where, yes, murder's murder. The life in a mother is a life. Like, we're not getting around this. Like, there's no changing my mind on this. There are hard lines when it comes to Christian beliefs that will never change. But with liberals, they will change. And due to that, you can't have logical arguments with someone who can change at any time. When the hierarchy says change or whatever it is, they will.
You gotta give the liberals some credit, though, Heath. And let me tell you why. When they threaten to put you in jail, buddy, they will. Just ask Jay Sixer. Just ask Tina Peters. Just ask, and we go on and on and on. The Republicans, what they do is they go, we'll investigate, and then they come back and they say, well, it was bad, but it wasn't that bad. So nobody goes to jail, but it was sure an ethical problem, and then nobody goes to jail. And so, to me, at least the Democrats get some credit. They do what they say they're going to do. The Republicans make promises and don't deliver, and that's, in my mind, a bigger problem. I just say the party's over. Let's jettison partisan politics, shall we? All right, for Curt Crosby, localhoneyman.com, for Heath Perkins, freewatercoinco.com, I'm Sam Bushman. God save our constitutional republic.
It's worth it when you try.